So let's create a card with some of these pieces that I got from Paper World. And I don't usually do these in real time, but you know, let's see what we can do. So I just have some basic, this is actually even thinner than I usually use, but this is just some basic craft cardstock, because I thought, you know, I'm not gonna try and compete with any of the colors going on here. I guess there aren't a whole lot of, let's see, there's not a whole lot of big ones in this set. Oh no, here they are. There are some more. This is the Old Morning Paper set. So we've got some Russian here, I think. Some English, more English, more English. Definitely English. So mostly English it looks like, which is kind of funny. And some old funny pictures and I don't know, just kind of fun, different, right? So I'm gonna probably get pretty eclectic here. Let's just take some. So they are, let's see, these papers. So I cut this to 4 by 5 1/4 so that I can have a frame around it. So these are smaller, slightly than that. I would say these are, let's see, about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 1/8 by, okay, let's see, 1, 2, 3, just over 3.5. So they're good for layering, but they would not be a full background for an A2 size card. So I'm just gonna start laying some pieces out, kind of being, you know, fairly random about things. Postcard one's kind of fun. Let's see. So these botanical ones, but let's see if we can use any of these. We'll definitely use some of these stickers here. So maybe we'll do 2 cards. One, because these are, you know, a lot different than this other look I'm going for over here. So let's start gluing some of this down. I'm not quite sure still how I'm going to do the vellum part. Let's get some vintage photo. So I've been using my vintage photo so much, I had to get a re-inker for it. Let's try some of this antique linen first, maybe. Maybe we don't want it quite so hard. Maybe just a little bit lighter. Probably need to get a re-inker for that one soon too. And I will try to go as quickly as possible, because usually I will edit and not, you know, try to take up so much of your time. But let's maybe use the vintage photo. This one here. It's still pretty juicy, I guess. I don't usually do tons of mixed media or tons of vintagey things, but I had so much fun with my Winnie the Pooh stuff recently that I've been enjoying playing with this more lately. Do you enjoy mixed media, or do you find that that's a harder one for you to wrap your brain around? I tend to do more cutesy stuff, but I like to be creative, so trying different things is definitely part of my jam. And if you can hear a drum playing, that's not really a drum. we had a blizzard the other day, and now all the tons of snow is melting off of our roof, and it sounds like a drum outside of my window. And it's actually been kind of driving me a little bit bonkers, but well. All right, let's glue some of this down and see where we go from here. I guess the fun thing about mixed media is that there isn't really any wrong or right. It's just kind of like, you know, stick some stuff down and figure out what you want to play with, and layer a lot of stuff. And I mean, obviously there's things that don't really, you know, go together necessarily, but I guess that's one good thing about these papers being pretty thin, is that, you know, you can layer a lot without getting necessarily bulky. I don't think necessarily these will work for what. Oh, this is cute. I love you. That would be, I don't know, that'd be pretty cool. Fun to use on something. So I don't know, should we try and stick this down with regular glue? Yikes. Let's just kind of go around the edges, and maybe we can hide some of that if I can see through it too much. It's not bad. I mean, you can see it on the edge there, but it's kind of hidden between with all the papers there. So let's see what some of these flowers are that might work. There's one that I saw that I thought would be pretty with it. Actually put the stamp like on the postcard. We have these other papers here. We have this hanging off the edge a bit. And get out some, I don't have a lot of stamps though that really work for, I feel like that work for mixed media. I do have a few stencils that I feel will work well with them. Let's see. Let's find out. Use this random stamp here. Let's see, we'll go with the, we'll try the antique one. I don't know if it's gonna be dark enough. It's kind of fun about, you know, you can just be super random. And it's okay. Can do some ink splatter on here, or we could, let's see if I have some stamps that'll work. I feel like this stamp is a good one for mixed media. It's just random, like, writing. And we can kind of just do just a little portion of it, you know, just ink up an area. And it just gives a little bit of something. Like, you can see it, but it's not like super in your face, you know? And then also, so let's you think I should use anything else there? Maybe another stamp. I do feel like maybe these stickers won't stick as well. Like they're not super sticky, so probably would need to glue them down a little bit. Like I feel like this one, it's sticking okay, but that one definitely, with the ink on there, maybe it just was not sticking so well. So, okay, I'm going to get a background layer and some twine. So I have that. And some yellow. That could work. No, too yellow. I do have this metallic, which I kind of like metallic, plus it's super thin. I don't have to worry about the layering. So let's just use some washi tape. I'm a super messy crafter and usually I'm very slow, so if you feel like I'm being too slow, I apologize because I feel like I'm being faster than normal. So I didn't cut this long enough to go too many times around, but I think 3 times around is plenty. I usually do an odd number of rounds anyway. And then I just space this out a little bit just so you can see it, but it's not like super intrusive. Let's go under these flowers a little bit. They're in the center, so I'm not covering it up quite as much. And then I will get a background layer, probably just black. I could go copper though, since we use some copper twine. That might be fun. This isn't big enough, but it'll at least give us an idea. Yeah, kind of like the copper. Just to give it a little more of that shine that's coming from the ribbon. So let's get a copper layer. Okay, so I am going to cut out the center of the back so that I don't waste my metallic paper, but I wanted you to see that that's basically what we have there, and it's all flat. And for right now, I think I'm going to leave it as is, except for let's maybe think about a sentiment for that. Okay, I have this really gorgeous paper from Crafty Critta, and just a gold metallic background. So I'm going to see what we can do. Like I thought some of these would be cool to have this gorgeous paper shining through. So let's see what we can do with this. So these are, let's see, about 2 3/4 inches by 1, 2, 3, about 4 inches. So interesting size. I don't want to go so geometric. Like this, so you can see more of that paper shining through. I'm gonna get through the blue up there. Okay, so I think these are stickers. Yep, well, it is. Actually, those are kind of thin, but these could be reused for little windows or acetate windows for shaker cards. So hopefully I can line this up pretty well. Okay, it does have a little bit of, it is sticky, but it's not so much so that you're screwed if you get it down wrong, although this has a sheen to it. This is, so if you probably stuck this to regular cardstock, you probably would not have been able to get that off. So not quite straight, so I will need to do a little bit of trimming, but you won't be able to tell because of the black frame around there. So that's kind of cool. Fairly straight. Not perfect, but you can always trim it down with your trimmer if you wanted it more straight. So, but that's kind of cool. Gives the paper a whole different look. So let's try, so those are the kind of whole background ones. It says Lace Fantasy. These are all Lace Fantasies, just different types. So this is like whole, like an actual background. So you're not be able to see through that. But let's see, so these are frames that you can see through the center of. So that's pretty cool too, because we could like put this, you know, down here and put one of these frames, and maybe they have matching frames, I don't know. It's hard to tell. Some of them look like they could kind of match. But let's see, this one I think, yeah, let's see what we can do. I mean, these are super short borders. I wish they were going this direction, because then you would be able to at least, you know, get it most way across the card. But like this, you'd have to find two that are the same to get it across and then line it up. Which I'm sure they repeat in here eventually, but I don't know, there's quite a few different ones. Black and white, and I don't even know if they repeat. They might not repeat. Like, these are similar, but they're not exactly the same. So, yeah, that might be a little bit of a challenge. I mean, here's some really basic ones. Hearts. So it would be nice if this was bigger for card making, in my opinion. But let's see if we can get one that's gonna kind of go with what we have here. So let me see. I'm thinking these are like one page, like the whole thing is a sticker. So if you want to use them as I had planned to use them, you're gonna have to cut it apart. So, but because it is clear, I'm just gonna cut at the next one, and there's a little black on there, so we'll just trim it off. So let's see, we should be able to hopefully pull this apart. Okay. So let's use this piece since we already have this scrap here. And so we could just cut straight across. I just don't know, like, what are you gonna do with that, you know? Not really sure. So let me grab some more of this paper. Maybe we'll just use this piece here. We could trim that down and just add that little detail there. Could trim this down and tuck it in here. I wonder if I can cut it so it looks like it's on both sides. Maybe we'll do that. So I just used some dies to cut out the center here, and so I can have some layering. Use it so it looks like it goes all the way across here. So first thing I'm gonna do, because it's just gonna be on this layer here, so I wanna use, I do need to trim off the ends a little bit, so I wanna try and the ends to hang off a little bit so I can trim those down. Get my ruler so that I can line these up. Anyway, sometimes I don't use regular liquid glue on gold metallic papers because it shows through sometimes, but this is not. This is just the regular paper. So I can do it on top, just underneath. Sometimes it just doesn't look right. But you gotta give it a minute for it to dry on the gold because it does slide around more. And I'm just wondering, is this too thick? Maybe I should trim this down a little bit. It just seems kind of wide, so I trimmed this down to 1 inch and it barely is gonna cover. Probably should have measured that first to see how I can. Maybe just try and slide this over. There we go. A little bit more. Because it's one good thing about it being liquid glue is like I can still slide these a little bit. So I can glue that down there. So I'm gonna turn this and I don't think I want all the blue showing. Blue and pink. When dies leave that little fuzzy edging, but sometimes I'll sand those off, but all right. So this barely fits in here. Probably should have gone slightly bigger, but basically I just cut out that center of gold so that I could use it and it would actually be seen, not just like a afterthought. So this is kind of where we're headed. So you can't see tons of that. So yeah, that would have been nice to maybe have it a little bit higher, but that's okay. First time working with these, so you just don't know what you're gonna get sometimes. Anyway, this has got kind of a whole, I don't know, Moroccan feel kind of to it. I don't know, something like that. Kind of different. I'm gonna glue my layers together. And I think that I will just use a really basic sentiment for this. And I won't keep you for that. I will put pictures at the end of the video for you to see how these turned out. I'm posting on my social media accounts. Gotta cover up that little detailed edge though on here. Don't want that to be seen. So Obviously I didn't cut it right in the center very well, did I? And this is why I usually get my base out first instead of trying to glue this on, because yeah, this is being difficult. So I really need to glue this down to my base layer, I think, first, so that I get it lined up properly. Anyway, not straight. I did not cut it straight. So I might have to go and trim some edges or something, but anyway, this is kind of my idea here, and I will finish that and then put that at the end of the video. And so these, I just think this is super cool. It'd be fun if you had some like little dried flowers or something, you know, to put behind this. Be kind of cool. So I don't know what I'm going to do with these yet, so I'm not going to keep you, but these are individual stickers just like the other ones, and yeah, we'll see how we use those. If you have any ideas, please put them in the comments below. Thanks for being here and watching.